welcome in, guys. It is here. It is official. It is that time, if you know what I mean. I'm actually trying to get my league chat. Can I not minimize my league chat? I guess not. Let's see. But again, welcome in, guys. Welcome in. It's official. It's finally football season. We of course are ready here on Darwin's Raven. The Ravens taking on the Kansas City Chiefs tonight at Kansas City, of course. As is tradition, the Super Bowl champions open at home. And if you're a Raven fan, this game got a little bit something different on it. You feel me? Like the way Travis Kelce, literally threw punches last game in the AFC Championship game, got the flag thrown in his favor, and was laughing and taunting in the face of the Ravens. Oh, Azo, welcome in, my boy. I am so ready. Actually, to be 100%. Hold on, we got to break out the book, the 23 season, 24 draft, and start of the 24 season. We had to end one book and start another book. Of course, we got our chapter marks. But, of course, our blue chapter mark, week 1 at KC. And as you know here on the channel, if you're new to the channel, we got the notes ready. We got matchups we're already looking at, things we're trying to exploit, what we're expecting out of the offense, the defense. If you're new here to the channel, make sure you tune in tonight, 8 o'clock, of course, Eastern Standard Time. We cover every Baltimore Ravens game live, doing play-by-play and in-depth analysis. One of our favorite sayings we have here on the channel is we don't like to just sit here and be like a lot of fans and viewers, and just complain about the problems. I was taught as a young man from a military man, don't come to your leaders with a problem unless you are there to also propose a solution. So we like to focus on solutions here on the channel. If you weren't here with us last year during the AFC Championship game, we lost our minds about the running game. So it was no surprise at the end that everyone was also upset about it. Welcome in, Daniel Berry. Of course, though, this is the debut of our new fantasy football segment, so not going to go too deep, into that matchup until later. Of course, before we go live, we'll be talking all about it, yada yada yada. But so tune in for that. But we're here to talk a little bit about fantasy football. If you're in one of my leagues, welcome in. We're in 3 different fantasy football leagues this year. Actually, we're going to start with the ESPN league. Give me one moment. Apologies while I pull that up. So we have, of course, 2 ESPN leagues. We're going to zoom up on that so y'all can get a better view here. So we have a 10-man league, which we are in with one of my moderators here on the channel, Chimera. You might see him drop in a lot on the streams. Chimera is my boy. I've never met the dude in real life, barely even talked to him like in voice, but he's a really good kid. He's a Buffalo Bills fan, part of Bills Mafia, and we're super appreciative of him. Of course, you've seen Azo here. Azo's not in any of my leagues, but he's also one of my moderators. Really helps us out a lot. We are also in a 12-man league. We got invited last minute through Twitter to a ESPN league ran by Kevin Oestreicher, and I hope one day he comes in and corrects me if I'm saying his name wrong. Kevin, though, let me give a shout out to Kevin real quick, so I get all of this correct here. One moment. I'm going to actually present the screen on his Twitter profile so that we can get it right. Here we are. So Kevin Oestreicher, at CoStriker34, does podcasting for Locked On Ravens, Locked On NFL Pods, writings for the Ravens Wire, and of course his YouTube channel at Locked On Ravens. But so Kevin invited us to a 12-man league. What up, 49er? Welcome in, guys. Kevin invited us to a 12-man league. So we have a 10-man league, a 12-man league, and then, of course, if you aren't aware, we also 49ers Media is actually one of the guys that is in our league that we're going to cover last on today's show. But it is a 14-man league on the Sleeper app, Sleeper Fantasy Football. Yeah, if you don't know, check it out. I'm not sponsored or endorsed. Really cool fantasy football app. You can do betting on the app as well. Really fun interfaces, lots of good information. I know it's backed by Kurt. What is his name? Baconhart. I don't know his name. I'm so sorry. He played for the Packers and the 49ers, quarterback. Does a lot of really good, social YouTube podcast kind of content. But we're in a 14-man league on the Sleeper app, where we also run that league, and we have independent defensive players at D-line, linebacker, and safety. We also just increased our roster bench size by 2, so the league is about to get wild, guys. And we got Spongy, another one. Spongy's actually in my 14-man league as well with 49er Media. And again, guys, this is our first fantasy football segment. Feel free to ask any and all questions in the chat. I will try to make sure to get to them. We're going to, of course, run through our lineups, and, of course, maybe some of these other guys' lineups like Spongy and Media's as well. Spongy says, I'm still pissed that my trades won't get accepted. I know. I'd have to see what you're offering. What did you offer, Spongy? And, of course, we're ready for this game. We got the hat. We made sure we cleaned it up all nice, got all them sweat stains off it. We trimmed up the beard real nice. We took like a dang inch off the beard and like probably about a half inch off the bottom, getting rid of that neck beard. You know what I'm saying? Got to get that clean line. Oh, I'm still doing it wrong. Spongy taught me how to mew. Not a shock. 49ers side just picked up the DFF. Oh, yeah, I saw that you got DFF in the league. Spongy offered Fairbairn and Trey Hendrickson. See, Spongy, we'll look at her roster in a minute because I believe that was traded to Sydney. We'll evaluate that trade in a minute. I think she actually drafted heavy on individual defensive players, like pretty highly. And so she probably really knows her guys. I do like the Trey Hendrickson. I think he's got phenomenal value over there in Cincinnati. She then countered with Fairbairn and Myles Garrett. Oh, you got to counter something with that. It's a bidding game. This is like real life bartering. And I don't know, Chad, how y'all feel about that. So again, Spongy is trying to get the kicker, if I'm not mistaken, from the Lions. Was it Gates? So he offered another kicker, Fairbairn, and Trey Hendrickson as a defensive lineman. Oh, Sponge is here to give his story.
Yo, what's up?
Yo, she is playing mind games with you, homie.
I know. I'm like
the exact same thing. That's how I know. I would 100% be like, nah, but for this.
All right, because there's not really many people on my team that I'll give up. I mean, yeah, there's a good amount of guys, but hold on, let me get through my team real quick. Like I would give up on one of these running backs, but I'm just scared that one of them's gonna break out.
Oh, I know. And with the 14-man league, we had to take a couple shots like that. Like, I know half my roster is just shots like that. But I'll be honest. I've learned something. Good.
Maybe I should throw one of those Chargers receivers in because I have 2 on my bench.
That might not be a bad idea.
But she wouldn't take Brendan Ray. She'd probably only take Josh Palmer.
Let's see. She got Jalen Phillips. Okay. I always mess up his name. The Giants linebacker. Okereke, thank you.
I low-key wanted
he's
him
great.
Too. I was eyeing him in the draft before I drafted.
He's like solid worth like 120 tackles.
Zaire Franklin.
Jesse Bates was who I was literally about to draft, and she took him literally right before me.
She has both Jay Bates, so she.
Let's see. Ooh, she's got a high.
She's got a good defense.
She's got Trayvon Walker, the linebacker from Jacksonville, the former first pick by them. He needs to step up. If he does step up across Josh Ward or Allen, I'm sorry. There's potential there. I think she needs to see if he's gonna break out.
Because here's the other thing with Jake Bates. The reason you look at him because Michael Bagley just went down with an injury, and this guy can kick far.
And see, in our league, the longer those field goals are, the more points they're worth. And if they miss from under 39 yards, I penalize kicker. That is something unique I added to my league, guys. By the way, I penalize kickers if they miss from under 39 yards. It's only a point, but
that's why I'm not mad at Fairbairn. I'd just rather have Bates.
I feel that. I wanted Tucker, man. I don't think I got Tucker in that league.
No, the captain took him from you. I think.
Oh, captain stole two different players from me. For those who were not there.
No, actually, it was that guy who drafted the multiple tight ends and multiple kickers. It was that guy.
Oh, you're so right. He did trade Mark Andrews, so I'm not terribly upset at him anymore. I'm gonna let him play it out. The fact that he made the trade Mark Andrews for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, and he kind of needed a quarterback, even though
exactly. I wasn't 100% happy with the trade, but not enough for me to intervene. It takes 7 vetoes, by the way, if someone wants to veto a trade. And I think I put I tried to make sure I had a long trade veto window. Steve-O says, I need you to look at my team rules. Interesting. 49er, he stole multiple people from me. I'm just mad about the Derrick Henry, man. I'll be honest. In that league, my running back room is a little weak. But I'm gonna tell y'all a trick.
That's all we hear in the chat in the league chat. That's all we hear about Captain taking Derrick Henry from you.
But sometimes losing early in fantasy football is one of the best strategies. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. It's not about how you start in fantasy. It's about how you finish. Being number one on that waiver wire within the first 6 weeks of when most of the major injuries occur is huge. Huge.
And that's why I'm happy that I was 4th, because I believe it was 49er Media who dropped Jaleel McLaughlin.
I couldn't believe that one.
He was,
to be 100%
he was
honest
on waivers, and I was like, okay, I'm 4th on waivers. I don't know if I'm going to get him. Because
he was the only person that's been picked up that was actually on waivers. Everyone else just wasn't even on waivers because they weren't drafted.
And we got some horrible news that for the Brazil game tomorrow that that Isaiah Rodgers will be out, and so yes, it will be Keely Ringo and Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and Darius Slay.
And see, bro, that's why I said last night in the pick'ems, it's like I think you're a better team, and I think you win in the playoffs. But I just think week 1 in Brazil, there could be noise issues, and the communications that broke my heart to make that pick. Like I said, I hope you prove me wrong on that. Oh yeah, 49er Media is the one who dropped him, McLaughlin.
Yeah.
Wild.
I was shocked by that. Who else does Media have a running back?
So I got to look at so this is my 10-man league that I'm in with Chimera. Our name is Lamarck of the Beast. And again, this is a 10-man league. The rosters are stacked. Everyone has stacked teams. It's ridiculous. It's just so crazy to go from a 10-man league to that 14-man league, the depth. And I uncharacteristically took a lot of Ravens. As you can see, I've got the Ravens defense. I've got Tucker. I've got Andrews. I've got Henry. I've got Jackson. I took J.K., Garrett Wilson, and Puka Nacua. And for those that don't know about fantasy football, last year, my team was carried by Garrett Wilson, Puka Nacua, and DJ Moore. And I'm putting my money on it again.
Did you originally draft Puka, or did you get him on the waiver wire?
And that's why I say sometimes it's better to have a good free agent wire. As long as you draft your team and you understand your one weakness, the thing is this: it's harder to find a wide receiver that breaks out, in my opinion, that people don't know about than a running back. There's a lot of guys, just the injuries to running backs that happen. So I place high priority on finding those guys after the season starts. But it's a bold strategy. It can get you in some trouble. Like we had to take a lot of shots, in our league.
Yeah, once you see my team, you're gonna see how many shots I had to take.
I know. I am gonna go actually look at your team real quick.
Only because I was listening to Levi the whole time, guys.
I know. I was like, God dang it, Spongy keeps stealing all my players, but they're good picks. I like them. Where's your team? Of course, I'm playing in our sleeper league. My buddy for the first week. Let's see. Share this tab.
Is it Kyle?
No, it's my buddy Andy. I know him back from South Carolina. He's another Packers fan, actually.
Oh yeah, the Packers fan. Yep.
Yeah, he's a really good dude, man. I played flag with him. I've known him for so fucking long. So Jaden Daniels, man, I'm not as high on Pacheco as other people.
I'm not either, but he was the best running back there at the time, and there wasn't really anybody better.
It's just like too early to take a shot, like case point on a Chase Brown, where you probably took Pacheco.
The problem in both of my leagues, maybe I'll send you my other team. But like my running back core.
I really like your individual D players, by the way.
Yeah,
Garrett, Franklin, and
I
James.
think I'm the only one who has defensive players on the bench.
Well, like I said, Sydney does as well, but hers are like high risk players, kind of.
Yeah,
she's gonna wait to see how they play out. Yeah. I think Brendan Rice is gonna break out year. Tyrone Tracy, we talked about him. Josh Palmer, huge upside.
Yeah, and Josh Palmer was just sitting in free agency. Nobody had
I thought about it, man. I thought about it so hard. I like the Jalen Carter and Trey Henderson picks.
Because even if if Brendan Rice doesn't work out, all right, and maybe
you basically just choose one of those two guys, basically.
Yeah. And if Josh Palmer breaks out, I don't care. I'm gonna go Josh Palmer, and maybe I'll trade you Brendan Rice, and I'll get a piece to trade to Sydney.
Or just having a piece that you already have in mind, potentially, if you have to drop a player, in waiver wire is, like I said, it's a good thing to have. I mean, dude, you're playing the guy that.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't have anyone in his flex spot right now either, is the worst part. But I think I do have the league set up that it'll auto put someone into a spot. So
I had to put,
which would be Kittle, actually.
I had to put Jaden Daniels as my starting quarterback for week 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of concerned because first, I'm sorry, I'm not putting Herbert week 1 again with an injury. They're
gonna run that ball. It's Greg Roman.
Yeah, and they're gonna use the tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really have tight ends over there, so that's the problem.
By the way, we got also a good article written here, fantasy football, just in comparing predicted points, and it's week 1, so it's hard to predict a lot of these points.
It has me winning.
By the way, if you put all those dots and all, it probably thinks you're trying to like put annoying links and all that stuff. But looking at quarterbacks specifically here, one of the favorites for week 1 is Jared Goff versus, of course, the Rams defense. And that's mostly based off how bad the Rams defense was last year, which we've talked about. I think that'll be different. But they were the 3rd worst defense against quarterbacks last season with 18.9 fantasy points per game given up. And we're also the worst over the final 7 weeks as well. Which, of course, Raheem Morris is now in Atlanta, and they've done a lot of different things over there. Other ones to like, Baker Mayfield and Tua Tagovailoa are the other ones. Quarterbacks to avoid: Dak Prescott versus the Browns. Thoughts?
I have Dak Prescott as my backup quarterback in my other league.
How do you feel about him?
I'm fine because he was a later round. He was like a 9th round pick. And he's behind Josh Allen for me, who I said I think is going to break out.
Yeah,
So
I think him and Keon are going to have a little bit something
so
special.
for only one game, I'm fine with having Dak Prescott start.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I almost looked at him at a few, because you always got to look at that bye week,
Well, unfortunately, I didn't get Keon Coleman in this other league where I have Josh Allen, but I did end up getting Khalil Shakir.
Ooh, and he's got high upside. They've been trying to get him to break out for a few years now. Of course, I've got Jared Goff as my starting quarterback in this league. He's only predicted 18.9 on the dot.
So this is my team in the other league, and I did get offered a trade, so I'll ask you what I should do.
Okay.
So I have Josh Allen at quarterback, Isaiah Pacheco at running back, Ramondre Stevenson at RB2, Tyreek Hill as my wide receiver 1, Nico Collins wide receiver 2, Trey McBride's my tight end. My flex might change, but right now it's Terry McLaurin. My kicker is Cameron Dicker.
Same kicker as me.
I have the Ravens defense. Dak Prescott is my quarterback off the bench. Then Tony Pollard, Chase Brown, Cortland Sutton, and Khalil Shakir. And the trade I was offered was Rome Odunze for Khalil Shakir.
Ooh. That's so...
That's hard.
They're both super huge. So, of course, Khalil's going to be the starting slot guy for Buffalo. I don't think a lot of people talk enough about. They brought in also, I think it's Curtis Samuel from the Washington Commanders as like their veteran guy.
And like, if I do accept this, I'm gonna just try and go out and try and get Keon Coleman.
Ooh, I mean,
if that's possible. Like, first I would have to see who has Keon. Hold on. Who has Keon?
See, no one would take Khalil for Keon, but someone might take Rome for Keon.
Well, I would probably trade somebody like. Oh yeah, I would definitely be able to trade for this because it's my cousin who knows nothing about football.
Sponge will take advantage.
Yeah, I am going to take advantage.
Yeah, I'm predicted to lose our starting week by like 10 points.
But I'd probably trade somebody like Cortland Sutton for a guy like Keon Coleman.
That could be solid. Man, don't discount Bo Nix, man. Like, so I couldn't cover Bo Nix.
I love all the jokes about him becoming the captain. I love all those jokes, bro. They are so funny.
So, I knew Bo was going to be drafted too high to be on my draft special. And of course, we only focus on like third rounders and later. But of course, when I'm running through the numbers and I'm sorting by like case in point, one thing that I sort through automatically is how many did they play a percentage of snaps. I want guys that are there, that are healthy, reliable, solid guys. So Bo, though, flashed across my numbers like several times that he plays really well under pressure and he makes a lot of big time throws under pressure. He's accurate and he's actually one of what was the stat no one talked about. And I talked about a little this with the Denver guy the other day. His intermediate throws, he was actually one of the best intermediate throwers in the entire draft class. And
that's probably why Sean Payton likes him so much because,
And he showed he had Troy Franklin out there in Oregon too, who was one of the Earl Thomas was one or Brian, whatever his name is, Brian Thomas, the kid that was out of LSU. I think you have him.
I have him. Yeah.
Yeah, those were two like the deep ball specialist guys. You also had like Washington out of USC and like There was like 4 real deep ball specialist guys in this draft, which I'm excited to see. Like a few of them.
Is it a reach for me to say that I think Brian Thomas will be the wide receiver 1 at the start of this year?
Down there in Jacksonville? I mean,
because they said this about him in camp, and I know it's just camp, but they said that nobody could keep him and nobody could lock him up. Nobody could.
He's got a really different skill set than every wide receiver they have, and he's got the potential to bring some life to that offense that they desperately needed. He was one of the kids. The Ravens were talking with him and Troy Franklin a lot, apparently, at like the combine.
I ended up getting one of them.
Hey, I'm happy with Devontae Walker out of UNC. Out of UNC. If you don't really know about him.
And don't worry, guys. I already did my way too early Eagles mock draft.
Really? Already doing the mock drafts for next year. My boy Sponges. This is crazy to me. I don't know if you can see on the screen. The predicted points for Rico Dowdle is 7.23. Now, I know Cleveland's got a good run D, but like...
these are very unpredictable because let's just show you this. It has Tyreek Hill getting 20 points.
You know, it has Amon St. Brown scheduled in at 19.21.
Nico Collins getting 14 points, and it has McLaurin getting 11.6 points.
No clue on that. I'm guessing the Streamlabs bot was getting on Amazo. But another one I'm really... Are you buying into Kyle Pitts this year?
Hurt.
You know what's funny is I got an ESPN message like this morning. He was changed from questionable to healthy today, apparently, out of the blue.
But it was just reported. Okay.
It was just reported he was dealing with a quad injury. 100%.
And that he was going to be out for week 1. That's what Adam Schefter
He was questionable for week 1, leaning towards out.
And ESPN said he's going to play, and Adam Schefter said he's...
Were they shifting the betting odds?
Probably.
Yeah, it does that a lot, Azo. If there's like a lot of commas or a lot of like dots, it thinks that someone's trying to like hide a link within the message, I've noticed. It's a fine line. What's crazy is my Streamlab bot is only on moderate settings. There's either minimum, moderate, or there's 2 above moderate, if I'm not mistaken. And I feel like minimal doesn't do enough.
Good thing your bot isn't here for Jackbox memes night.
Actually, it yelled at people for cussing, and I was like, I'm sorry, guys, we're cussing on camera, and it's yelling at you for cussing in the chat, but I know Aaron Jones. Like I said, I'm not in love with my running back room in this. I got Aaron Jones, Rico Dowdle, Trey Benson, who, again, I think my running back room is going to be stronger at the end because Trey Benson, I think, is going to take that job by the end of the year. Connor's going to get hurt. And on my IR, it's not showing, of course, I have Brooks. So I'm counting on Brooks and Trey to kind of take over my running back room by the end of the season. I'm hoping to dangle maybe Aaron Jones. And I think Dowdle might be one of those guys later in the season, too. I think it's just going to be one of those ones they've got no other choice. Dalvin's still on the practice squad. But I know this Rico Dowdle right here is killing me. Jameson Williams for 10 points. And I know I should probably move on from Jameson too. That he wasn't a pick that I loved, but I felt like value-wise where he was at in the draft. I might dangle him, honestly, for a running back. And, of course, J.K. Dobbins. Gus Edwards is technically listed as the starter in that team. I don't think I'm going to move anything here. And, of course, our defensive players, I really like Nnamdi Madubuike. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He, of course, changed his name to his Nigerian name because we got a lot of Nigerians on the Ravens. Matt Judon, I think, is going to eat. I was excited when I saw that Judon was listed as a linebacker technically, and that I could use him basically, so an edge rusher. And then Cameron Curl, I think, is going to be a tackle machine for LA, as well as providing a couple forced fumbles and interceptions.
Yeah, Levi, go get one of them kickers from Darien.
Honestly, I'm kind of weirdly happy with Dicker. I think he's going to get better this year.
He got 3 of the best kickers in the league. All 3 of them on his team, 2 of them on the bench.
I probably could really offer him almost nothing
for one of the either Aubrey or the Butker, because I don't think he'll trade Tucker.
Man, the thing is this too. I've got 2 tight ends. I think Hayden Hurst is going to have a breakout year in that offense under Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh.
But you can't send him another tight end.
I can't. And also Theo Johnson. I can't. Theo Johnson, I think, is my Darren Waller of this draft, which is weird because, of course, Darren Waller was there for the Giants. So if you don't know, of course, Darren Waller was drafted by the Baltimore Ravens in the 6th round. We are the ones that converted him to tight end, and then we moved to cut him, and he went, of course, to Oakland. I remember in one of my – oh, go ahead.
If we do this league again next year,
yeah,
is there an option to add an O-line or something?
I don't think so, but man, I should submit that to Sleeper, honestly, like as a suggestion. They might – I think that would be really cool to add O-line.
And it would be like for a penalty, it would be like minus however many.
Sack given up, tackle for loss given up. But the only hard part would be, I feel like the only hard part would be giving them points, because it's going to be hard to track like pancakes and stuff like that. So you would have to do it probably based off the offensive yards, which then to counteract points being taken away from sacks and tackles for a loss, it'd have to be pretty good. That would be fun though. That's actually a great suggestion. But Darren Waller got through a lot of leagues, like to free agent wire his first year in Oakland, despite what John Gruden was saying about him. And of course, I've been hearing all the camp reports. I saw the preseason. I was like, this. And what's funny is at that time, my mom was playing in a money league, and she was like asking me for advice. And I was like, Darren Waller made it to free agency. Are you serious? And of course, that year he blew it up, and he carried her team the entire year, basically. I think Theo Johnson, the tight end for the New York Giants that they drafted out of Penn State, really has that potential this year. Has a lot of huge measurables, has the frame. And of course, with Darren Waller retiring last minute, it kind of did put them in a bind a little bit. He's currently listed 2nd on the depth chart. But he's one of those guys I think is going to take over way before the season ends. It was just one of those ones I'm like, man, he's going to either be a carry for my team in my flex or the trade bait. Welcome back, Sponge.
Hey, I got a question real quick.
Let's hear it.
Another one. Your name is
the show, right?
Your name is Poetically Speaking.
Yes, sir.
And I know you already gave a reason, but I have another reason. Jason Poe.
There's a lot of good reasons to have the Poe name, man. Again, we are Poetically Speaking. That's just like even my name, Darwin's Raven, is kind of a mash of all things. Of course, Raven for the Baltimore Ravens. Darwin is like a reference to a show, as well as, of course, to Charles Darwin. There's like a few different like ways. So we're always Poetically Speaking. That's actually the name in my 2nd league. And let me hold on. I'm going back to my ESPN league here. This is our 10-man league. I'm trying to see, is there anything I need to do before today's games? I don't think so. I think I already set this line up pretty heavily. It's week 1. They're giving the Ravens D 3.8 points. Okay. Kansas City has a rookie left tackle, but we're not going to talk about that till the pregame show.
On Sleeper, they have it the Ravens scoring 6.66 points.
Okay, that's more realistic. I'd take 6.6 points. You know, I'm not going to sit here and like shit on the Chiefs. They got a good team.
It's gonna be more like 10 because y'all are gonna attack that left side.
And that's what I actually started getting a good bit of likes. I was talking about that on Twitter. I think Cole Jackson was talking about the game a little bit. It's one thing I'm going to talk about the Ravens game. They have rookie left tackle starting. If I was a defensive coordinator, I am going to really attack that left side and force the ball. Basically, I consider a lot of things competitively. I play chess. And let me give you one of my chess strategies. Of course, you have to plan moves ahead. But one of my strategies is a constant pressure strategy. I love to just sometimes, if I can force a check, even if it's just a BS move that forces 5 seconds off the clock, I'll do it as long as I'm not going to lose a piece or move my board into a disadvantageous situation. But the constant pressure tactics, would you rather be responding or forcing the other to respond to you? It's as simple as that. And in this type of situation and game, that's how I would approach it. Make them make the adjustment, then plan for that adjustment. Then, of course,
what I will say,
it's a cat and mouse game. Go ahead.
Besides the left tackle position, the Chiefs O-line in general sucks. Creed Humphrey is about the only guy on that line.
Yeah, they actually lost Donovan Smith. I was hoping he was on the team still. I didn't get to mention this one. So everyone saw the Travis Kelce punch and the flag, and he was laughing that he got the flag in his favor. After the game, Donovan Smith, who of course isn't on the Chiefs anymore, they showed a God, he got signed to someone. I can't remember who.
Right.
But I think he moved to guard for. Is it? No, it's not for the. That's Mekhi Becton. Anyway, Donovan Smith. I saw a clip.
Becton moved to guard. Yeah, sorry.
I saw a video of him. He was in the Chiefs locker room while Roquan was at the podium for his press conference. And he's like, oh, boo-hoo, look at him. He's sad, like just talking so much. He about to cry, like saying all kinds of stuff. And I was like, oh, that's going to be bulletin board material. Roquan going to come out here looking to take somebody's head off.
And that person's head that he's going to take off is Travis Kelce. God, especially... Man. I mean,
you got to stop him.
And Roquan might be, if he ends up doing that, he might be able to take a shot at Miss Taylor Swift.
Yeah, man. We got to stop. Cabas had 11 catches for 116 yards in that AFC Championship game.
I heard she is up for auction.
I saw some weird story today, probably because you mentioned it now. Where it was talking about supposedly Travis Kelce's PR team leaked a contract where
that's exactly what was reported yesterday.
And I was like, bro,
talking about on the show.
Cap for life. Welcome in, my boy. He's got that 14. Stroud, Jacob, Achan or Kane, McBride, Rice need 2 out of 4. Singletary, Sutton, Shakir, and Coleman. Ooh. That's tough.
Shakir and Coleman. Jesus.
I know, right? Got both the Buffalo guys. And what's so funny, that actually I think might be a good segue here. Again, we got an article written up a little bit here talking about, different matchups. And of course, one of the matchups to avoid is Isaiah Pacheco at running back. But looking at the wide receivers, his number 1 pick is Keon Coleman. So absolutely one of those 2 spots I would give to Coleman. Of course, they've got Curtis Samuel and Khalil Shakir, but the Cardinals did little to address their defensive backs in this offseason. The only real signing they made was Sean Murphy-Bunting, who graded below average in coverage last year. They afforded perimeter wide receivers more than 2 PPR fantasy points per target and the 2.32 position overall. So the Cardinals secondary might be super suffs. I'd probably definitely take Coleman for the red zone.
The only thing that I'm nervous about is, I might try to make a move like Shakir for Coleman, but what I'm scared about is having too many rookies on my bench.
Which brings me to my second team, which you watched me draft a little bit. In our second ESPN league, our 12-man league with Ravens Wire Rider and all that, I mean, if you can't see, my team: Chase Brown, Tyjae Spears, Garrett Wilson, DJ Moore, Keon Coleman, Jackson Smith and Jiba, Trey Benson, Theo Johnson, Xavier Legette, Braylon
Never
Allen, Tyrone
draft like
Tracy
this,
Jr., and
guys.
Andre Iosivas. All 25 under team. This is what I'm going to have a lot of
Yeah,
fun
I
in.
saw ESC's, his stock is rising on Sleeper.
Bro, let me tell you this. So when I saw Iosivas, I was covering that draft live. And of course, he popped out through the drills a little bit. He had the second agility score behind Jackson Smith and Jiba in the entire draft. And of course, watching the entire combine and draft process leading up, I had a picture of, because I don't always look at what their actual like heights, length and size is right off the bat. I kind of watch and then I find my guys and go start digging on them. And I was 100% sure this was a sub 6-foot guy on how he moved, like how he broke out of his routes. And then when I saw his size, holy shit, he shot up on my draft stock, because rarely do I feel like you can run routes and show that type of acceleration with his, like, I think he's a 6'3" guy, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to double check.
And also, guess what? Joe Burrow made a comment about him and said that he's going to break out this year. So however you want to take that, you can take that.
I told when they lost Boyd, I believe it was Boyd that left in the offseason, I spoke out about it with some Bengal fans. I said, honestly, I think y'all are fine. I think that, and of course they drafted the kid out of Alabama, I think in the second round this year as well, who's going to be a great piece, especially next year for them. I'm trying to remember his name. Nate Burton? No. I think it is Burton. Let me double check here. I don't want to get that wrong. Yeah, Jermaine Burton out of Alabama was a great pick for them. But going back to Cap's question, Coleman 100% number one. You taking Singletary or Sutton for the other spot? I feel like starting two wide receivers for the same team is too risky. I think Singletary starts strong early, but I like his backup later in the season. But Sutton might be going out there to make a statement with Bo Nix. But is it risky to start two rookie wide receivers? I'm sorry, Sutton's not a rookie.
Let me hold on, Levi. I'll be right back. I'm lagging out again.
Yep, no worries, my guy. I want to look here. I got to look at Devin Singletary. Give me one moment here, Cap. I want to look at the matchup. So they're playing, Minnesota. Honestly, I think Sutton has high upside, but I really think I like the potential of that Minnesota matchup. I think that the Giants are going to win that game. I picked them to win that game. And I think so Singletary is going to get a healthy amount of carries. But I also, the Giants backfield, I'm a big fan of Tyrone Tracy Porter Jr., whatever his name is. I think he is this year's Isaiah Pacheco. He runs like he's angry at the ground. And mark my words, I think by the end of the year, Singletary will have half his touches taken away by Tracy. That's my big prediction there. As for the Broncos, let me double check. They're playing no. Definitely not Sutton this week. The Seahawks defense is going to be different under Mike McDaniels. They've got some good corners. They brought in great free agents at safety to make sure people don't get behind them. They've got a great D-line. Not a lot of people talking about their linebackers and Tyrell Dodson and Baker from Jerome Baker from Miami. That Seahawks team is going to be dramatically, and Connor Williams at center is going to be huge for that team. So Cap, if you're still there, the official picks are for me Singletary and Coleman for your two spots left. And again, if anyone in chat's got some draft questions for
and I just want to say that guy Tyrone Tracy Jr. is on my fantasy team.
I know. I saw you take him. Like I said, I think he takes that at least half the touches before the end of the year, and I think he'll be the goal line
And
guy.
what was I gonna say?
Like I said, dude runs like he's angry at the ground, 100%.
I don't know what I was gonna say. I forget. I might
My
remember soon.
apologies.
No, you're good. Cause I was thinking about Tyrone Tracy, and then I thought about somebody else, and then I forgot.
There's a couple guys like I think the Jets are in a great situation too, because God forbid anything does happen to Breece Hall. Braylon Allen, I think did not get enough credit in this draft process for his size, speed, and he switched from a run heavy offense to a pass heavy offense last year and did pretty well over there in Nebraska. And then they took one of my like draft sleeper guys from South Dakota State and Isaiah Davis. I think he's got a very similar style to Braylon Allen, a little, of course, lower to the ground. But they've got some power to run with over there in New York.
I've heard some reports.
Ooh, let's hear it.
Some comparisons of Braylon Allen to Derrick Henry.
Ooh, I mean, and what's funny is I literally had that thought last night. I was sitting there, thinking about football and everything, and of course, our draft and all that. And I was like, I mean, if you want to talk about just size, speed, body build in a sense, I mean, yeah, he fits every bit of that mold, and that's a high bar to set. But that's like Estime, Audric Estime from Notre Dame.
But that's more of a Jerome Bettis.
Yeah, Jerome Bettis, which again got to be in the right offense, but like high potential for that young man as well. There were so many running backs that went like fourth and fifth round.
When I was looking at the draft, what I would do, I would watch like Bengals mock drafts and stuff. Bengal, the YouTuber, and he was like, "Yeah, I know some guys from Notre Dame," and he was like, "Yeah, everybody on Notre Dame's campus is saying that Estime is going to be the next Jerome Bettis."
And the thing is, that came from a former Steeler ESPN NFL analyst, is where that comparison really started. And that guy knows what he's talking about a little bit. He's like, I'm telling you, man, like it's not going to work in every offense, but.
And I don't know if it's going to work in the Broncos offense.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting what they do over there. That's 100%. Jaleel McLaughlin. I think the thing with Estime is I don't think he has the potential to be a pass catcher like Kamara and like Mark Ingram. A lot of the running backs that came out of New Orleans were great pass catchers out of the backfield.
Well, like this question, who's going to start at running back for them?
I mean,
because I need to know if just for week 1, I take the chance and put Jaleel McLaughlin instead of Isaiah Pacheco. I know that's a reach, but like I got this week 1 game in the bag already, so not too worried about my.
Technically, Javonte Williams is listed on ESPN's depth chart as RB1. They're another one, kind of like the Jets. Actually, if I'm the Broncos, maybe I'm crazy on this here. Maybe Bronco fans can set me right if I got any in here. I would put Javonte Williams on the trade wire, 100%. Real life NFL. Jaleel McLaughlin, good. Estime's RB3.
And if nobody wants Javonte, release him. It's not like, maybe you can get a 6. But this guy,
I wouldn't release him. I trade like a 6 for him. And they're RB4. Looks like they're going into the season with 4. Another guy that like I wanted to have on my draft special, but like I just already had too many running backs I loved. Blake Watson, who I think was one of the like higher zone. When I broke all Memphis runs kid? Down by zone and gap, and he was one of the Memphis leaders. Kid? Yes, who I think would fit well in that offense.
I actually saw him play against Temple in the first football game I was at last year.
Wow, that's crazy. He's actually got some talent. Like, again, very specific running style.
when I was at that game, I wasn't necessarily paying attention to Memphis. I was more paying attention, of course, Temple.
Yeah.
And their starting quarterback at the time, because now he's transferred, I believe, to Rice, maybe. E.J. Warner, he stunk it up. Son
I say it sounds familiar.
What's it? Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner's son.
Yeah, I remember I split all the runs, of course, into zone and gap, and to see who basically like what ran the most at each style, as well as like how well they did in each. And Blake's one of the people that popped up in the top three. Like I said, I can't remember if it was the zone or gap style, but and of course I think he was at the Senior Bowl as well.
I'm already messaging you about guys in like the 2027 and 2028 draft classes.
I know, man. I was watching. Oh my God, who was the Arizona kid? Absolutely ridiculous.
But he's next year. He's next year. So you know who would be like crazy but possible if he goes to a team like the Arizona Cardinals. Oh my God. Him and Marvin Harrison.
That's all depends on Kyler, man. I keep joking about it, but I'm somewhat real. New Call of Duty drops this year.
Oh my God.
It's in beta right now.
I know somebody who
with Omni movement. It takes even more sweat to get good. Is it real that they actually had to put something in his contract about watching film?
I think that was like when he first got his contract, and that's when that was bad. But I've heard he's gotten way better.
I mean, the kid's got such incredible talent. Like, he's got the ability to
I think if he doesn't do it this year with a generational wide receiver, of course, that's just what I'm going to call
He's
Marvin
got
Harrison
good tight
right
ends.
now.
He's got a good defense. He's got
a good
wide
tight end.
receivers now.
Although I think this kid would have done good last year. Of course, me calling him a kid, ironic.
Right.
But if he wasn't hurt for 9 games last year, I think he might have actually like played well, because he showed in the games he did play that.
I think actually Paris Johnson Jr. did not play that well. Their first round pick left tackle. I think he actually kind of struggled a little bit last year as well. They got Jonah Williams, the former tackle from the Bengals, on the opposite side.
Or
Paris Johnson Jr., the Ohio State left tackle. And then they took Christian Jones, the tackle out of Texas that we really liked, but he's already on IR, apparently. They've got another good tight end, too, Tip Raymond, behind Trey McBride.
Yeah, I like their draft, but they reached on that Tip Raymond kid.
That's how I felt. Now, there were some NFL guys like at the draft that loved him. They said that was their sleeper guy. I'm waiting to see. He's still third on the depth chart, behind Elijah Higgins. Yeah, I kind of agree. Like the fantasy football advice was talking about Keon Coleman against them. I don't know if they've done enough for their secondary. I like a lot of things they got in the front seven. They got some good highlights. They've got good. I think Trey Benson wins that running back job. Well, I think we lost Spongy for the Wi-Fi again. Another one too, guys. Matchups, highlights real quick, running down this ESPN list. If you're looking for a tight end, they're predicting Luke Musgrave, the Green Bay Packers at Philadelphia. Probably got some good red zone potential there. The Eagles were the 10th worst team against the position last year and saw 8 different tight ends score in double-digit last season. Of course, they're going to be without one of their linebackers as well. Was it Devin Bush, I believe, or someone? So they're going to be out without a starting linebacker down there. Matchup to avoid is going to be Jake Ferguson at the Browns. Of course, that Browns defense is just absolutely stingy. And really, they know how to play some tight ends from their time here in the AFC North. At the wide receiver position, we already mentioned a little bit. Keon Coleman, one of the highlight guys to start against the Arizona Cardinals. Chris Godwin of the Buccaneers versus the Commanders, and Malik Neighbors versus the Vikings. Other matchups to like just based upon the points allowed against enemy teams. Brandon Ayuk is supposedly one of the matchups to avoid, just with Michael Carter second, DJ Reed, and Sauce Gardner. It's going to be a hard matchup for the wide receivers of the 49ers. Of course, Christian McCaffrey probably going to get a insanely healthy load in week 1. Of course, Jared Goff, the quarterback to start. Baker Mayfield, Tua Tagovailoa, avoiding Dak Prescott. Again, that they just points allowed that defense. Running backs, they want you to start Zach Moss versus the New England Patriots. I mean, that's not a bad selection. He's going to get a lot of carries. Of course, if you're new here, we predict Chase Brown to be the starting running back of the Bengals by the end of the season. James Cook of the Buffalo Bills versus the Cardinals, and Aaron Jones of the Vikings versus the Giants. Avoid, they say, Pacheco versus the Ravens and Najee Harris versus the Falcons, which I think are all solid and great advice. We got Spongy coming back in here.
Oh, so I got a problem.
What's up?
I got a problem, and that's in our league. Besides
What's up?
not getting the Jake Bates trade, whatever. I got a problem at my RB2. My RB2 is currently Chase Brown.
Okay.
And he's not going to start. And the only other guys I have on the bench are Tracy and McLaughlin. So I just slotted McLaughlin in at that RB2 spot.
Ooh, that is tough. I'm kind of in the same boat a little bit, to be honest with you.
I mean, because like I want these guys to break out on my team. So, I mean, I don't care. He's got freaking Drake May starting at quarterback. So,
who's not actually going to even be playing.
Yeah, and he's got Ezekiel Elliott and Marshawn Lloyd, who's out, as his 2 running backs. T. Higgins is his starting receiver, who's questionable. Tyler Lockett is his starting receiver, who's questionable. The only guy who's really going to kill me are Travis Kelce and Justin Tucker. And TJ Watt. And
yeah, you've got that first one just because it's that guy.
He traded for Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor isn't even in his starting lineup.
I know.
So you might have to do something.
I slightly want to yell at him a little bit for that.
Yeah.
I'm going to shoot him a direct message.
I think he made that trade to make him his starter. Who added this guy? Well, I'm assuming it was Carter.
I mean, I was opening the league up to people, so I mean, I think he's probably. I think that's actually what it is.
I think so.
Let's see. There he is.
Yeah, are you gonna direct message him?
Yeah, I'm gonna direct message him.
Hold on. Are you able to go on the main screen when you hit match? Can you scroll to my my percentage to win and my team name? Oh, dang it. Oh, hold on. My percentage to win and my team name kind of go along.
Let's see here. League. That's hilarious. You have a 69% chance to win. And of course, Sponge having a little fun with the guys naming his team the 69ers.
But the problem is that's when Chase Brown is my RB2.
Ooh. Kenny starting Zay tonight. That's a good. There's a lot of love about Zay.
So if I look at my projected, I might even take Isaiah Pacheco out of this game and just put 2 Justin Shaw just put both McLaughlin and Brown in.
Well, remember he might make the move. He's got still a few days to switch May out for
Yeah, but also
and he's got no one in his flex, and it's going to move. I think his highest points player there, which would be George Kittle.
See,
So that's another 11 points there.
But like he's got to make a lot of moves. He still has a bench piece available, and he's got so many injuries, and he hasn't even moved in the IR yet. And so and he's got 3 injuries or 3 questionables, on his starters, which is he doesn't really have anybody else at that position. So I think I'm still fine.
Yeah, I think you'll still win, but if he makes a few moves, like Ezekiel is not going to get anything against the Cleveland Browns. That even 9 points is an over exaggeration there.
Lloyd, even if he does play against the Eagles, he's questionable. First off,
and he's like second or third.
And I think he is third. So, and Josh Jacobs is going to take half of those, almost all of those snaps. And no, actually, sorry, Lloyd's second because AJ Dillon is out for the year.
Okay. So he's second on the depth chart now.
He's second on the depth chart. I mean, and he's not going to be one of those guys that takes the RB1 spot towards the end of the year unless Josh Jacobs gets hurt. Because Josh Jacobs isn't really a guy that gets hurt a lot. And he's not going to get beat out by a rookie, respectfully.
I mean, one thing I like about Marshawn, now Josh Jacobs is not going to get beat out like you said, because he's like coming off 2 years ago or a year ago, the number 1 rusher in the league or whatever, like 2 years ago, I think. But I like Marshawn. Marshawn led all running backs in the entire draft class at the elusive rating, which is a really weird rating.
Yeah,
but the dude can make people miss.
He's a really good running back, but the situation they put him in, he's on a good team, but he's behind a really
good running back
who doesn't get hurt a lot.
I'm excited. Me and Lambo Legend here, Big Spoon, aka. Look at these percentages: 46 versus 54. Like we are neck and neck in this. I need a better running back.
I'm looking at it. Hey, I put out. Oh no, I didn't put anybody. Oh, you got Rico Dowdle starting? Hold on.
That's what I'm saying. I got a lot of guys that I think, just like we talked about, are going to win the jobs. Rico Dowdle, Trey Benson, J.K. Dobbins. Like, I got guys, and of course, Jonathan Brooks. I got guys that I think are going to win the battles. Aaron Jones, I honestly didn't love it, but I had to take a steady running back at least. And I think it's just one of those ones they're going to, of course, run the living heck out of that ball to protect Sam Darnold.
The defensive line there, Levi?
Say what?
Need any defensive line there, Levi?
I'm pretty happy with Matabike and Judon. Like I said, the fact that I got Judon technically as a linebacker. He's not a tackle machine, but
I was about to try and cook up a trade, but that ain't gonna work.
Who are you trying to trade me?
Trey Hendrickson. Just get him off my hands.
Nah, I don't want him for anything that I'm happy with my selections. But Matabike is going to get a good amount of tackles for a loss as well, is what I'm really looking at for him. They're definitely underscoring his numbers.
Now, Levi,
13 sacks last year.
Do you know how to? But Levi, do you know how to pronounce his new first name?
Namde, I believe, or is it Namdi?
Okay, because you can't call him Justin Matabike anymore.
Yeah, Namdi Matabike. It's just like Odafe Owe used to be. What did he go by before Odafe? I don't even remember now because I've always just called him Odafe. But Odafe Owe, our linebacker, used to go by something else. And I'm waiting for David Ojabo to get rid of the David and go by something else. Wait, like I said, we got actually quite a few Nigerian players. in our
Hold
team.
on. Damn, I'm looking at it. There's nobody I could trade you. Because literally, we kind of drafted similar.
We did. We both need a little bit of. We're both like banking on our running backs to make something happen, but the rest of our rosters are legitimate.
Like I was about to see. Oh, should I trade Chase Brown for one of his receivers off the bench? But I'm like, nah.
See, I'd probably take that trade, especially off for one of my bench guys.
I think you know what receiver I was looking at.
I got a pretty good guess, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, actually, no. Who are you looking at? Is it Eusebis or Leggett or Sutton?
Oh, just to get a sure thing for my receivers. I mean, this is a crazy thing. I didn't know this. Jaleel McLaughlin is 23 and Chase Brown is 24.
Wow, I did not think so. Chase was an old drafty.
So Chase, I think he might have held out just to get drafted with his brother in the same class.
I mean, also part of that COVID draft class a little bit. So
yeah.
I mean, let me look at the Broncos here. Hold on. Let me look at this Broncos depth chart. I want to explore the wide receiver depth here. Josh Reynolds, Marvin's Mims, Courtland Sutton.
And no, I'm not offering you that trade unless I really need wide receiver help late in the year.
You know what I think where they're going to suffer in Denver this year? They need a tight end. I feel like tight ends are a quarterback's best friend.
I feel like does Oregon have any tight ends at the moment? The Oregon Ducks. Anybody? Hold on, I can.
I'm not sure
can't look
on
it
that.
up.
I'm about to say I haven't done that. Let's see here. Top 2024 tight ends.
Oh, you know who I projected to be the Eagles' first round pick at number 26 this year?
Who?
I know he's ranked highly in these classes, but tight end hasn't really been a big thing. Getting drafted in the top 10 recently, at least. So I had us at 26, picking somebody for the future. And no, it's not a Georgia guy. It's not a Bama guy. It's a Michigan guy. At tight end, Colston Loveland.
Yep.
He's on this list. Number 19 on national what's it called?
Ooh, he had an 88.7% open target rate in 2023.
He's really fast.
Which placed him in the 95th percentile of all FBS tight ends. Dude gets open for 6'5", 245 tight end.
And it's been kind of a problem with Goddard with his injuries. So, just for a backup plan that's not Grant Calcaterra, who I would take Loveland over Calcaterra all day, every day. I would so do that at 26. It's not even funny. If we can even move up a spot or two to be a sure thing to pick him up.
You know, there's going to be a kid, Luke Lakely, coming out of Iowa, I'm reading, potentially. They think he's going to be like that next part of the Iowa tight ends, like George Kittle, TJ Hawkinson, Noah Fant, Sam Laporta. He was trapped behind Sam Laporta on the depth chart. We'll have to keep an eye out.
Hold on, I got another guy for you to look at.
A lot of guys on this list with injuries, it looks like. One guy transferred to Georgia from Stanford. I'm wary of transfer kids sometimes, like depending on case in point, the linebacker Drew Sanders for the Broncos they took last year. They took him out of the University of Arkansas, go Hogs, but he couldn't win the job at Bama apparently. And so he transferred out of Bama to Arkansas, where of course he played pretty well.
So I got this was what I was gonna ask you. The what's it called? Another guy for you to look at. I know this college team doesn't really produce many draft guys, but this guy is flying up draft boards as we speak right now. Just from what I've seen, like the mock drafts I've seen so far, I understand it's early, but this guy is ranked 83 to 101 on a lot of these websites. But with a lot of these YouTubers, he's going in the first round, and that's Purdue offensive tackle Marcus Mbow,
Ooh.
who could move to guard. But I'm thinking if the Eagles draft him in the second round, if he's still available, that would be a must pick up.
Okay, 6'5", 300 pound.
But I think he's got shorter arms. I think that's why he might move to guard. But
Which,
we could
that's
also
classic.
we could also make it work. We got one of the best O-line coaches in the league. I don't know. I don't care. Whoever we draft. Hold on, let me get my charger to charge my computer so I can say the rest of my draft.
Yep, you're good. And I agree. I think Eagles had to have a great offensive line. Kelsey, that's something Kelsey talked about a lot. Yeah, we're reeling a little bit. We had a really good O-line coach as well as in Coach DL. We just call him Coach D. That the last name's kind of long. And of course he passed away at like the end of training camp this year. The Ravens will be wearing commemorative stickers for Jacoby and Coach D this season on their helmets. So Ravens got a lot of not just all the talk in the media. I don't know if y'all saw this too. It's one of my talking points here I've got for the pregame show. They recently, NFL like writers and ESPN writers, all the writers put out their MVP predictions. And like among like the writers, like there was like 10 to 25 writers for NFL. Lamar, not one mention. Not even in the conversation, apparently.
I think he has a chance, but with a lot of these guys,
It's gonna be a good year of football. Just all around the NFL.
I don't know.
I understand not being like unanimous or even like majority, but like not even a mention.
Years, and I think this year is gonna come soon. I really want a wide receiver to win it at one point, just so it's not a freaking quarterback anymore. And I think when
I was rooting for Tyreek a little bit last year.
And I think when a lot of these young receivers like Marv come in and that Arizona receiver who's already showing in college.
Put up like 300 yards.
Yeah, on 34 catches, was it?
Absolutely ridiculous what they do down there, that offense.
Bro, these quarterbacks are also getting better. I think Jaden Daniels is, win an MVP early in his career.
I talked about this back when before Gruden got back into the NFL. He was doing, of course, Gruden's quarterback camp. And it was actually, I did a whole piece on this at one point, how I mentioned, I think ever since the start of Gruden's quarterback camp and just how much more attention goes into the draft process, that we were generally seeing quarterbacks coming into the league more prepared for what they were actually going to be doing. And we saw elevated success from rookies, unlike we saw in previous years before it.
And like all these players are just getting better. And bro, the running backs are also getting better. That one from Boise State, Ashton Janti, he was also cooking in week 1, from what I heard and from what I saw. They also got one of the top QB recruits from a year or two ago in Boise State. They got Malachi Nelson.
Who would you start in your flex? DJ Moore or Pittman?
Playing this year, of course. He was.
I think Pittman, just because DJ Moore's got Keenan Allen and Rome Odunze to compete with.
But DJ Moore is also wide receiver 1.
Dude, and he's carried my fantasy team for years.
Yeah, so I think maybe DJ Moore. Although, who are your two other receivers that you're starting, Carcass?
I mean, he's got to have good guys if that's the flex option. Basically, his number one it's got to be like Tyreek Hill and like not Jamar Chase, because that's questionable. He did show up to practice the other day, but
Yeah, and I think that's one reason why you should draft more guys who have a relationship with the quarterback or have played with the quarterback before, because like these guys start to hold out, those quarterbacks can just get on them, get on their case.
man, I'm still gonna bet on Rico Dowdle. I think he's gonna buck this trend on that Cleveland team. I got a weird feeling. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping Dallas comes out and doesn't lay a goose egg against the Browns.
This was my. So I think I did 2 mock drafts. Yeah. So the first one I took tight end Colston Loveland at pick number 26. And then I had pick 60 was my next pick, but then I traded that to the Baltimore Ravens, who had pick 62. And I picked up Marcus Mabeau and a 2026 Baltimore 6th-round pick.
Oh, he has Jamar Chase and Cooper Kupp. Is Jamar Chase even going to play?
He might hold out.
I love Kupp, but
I did hear that the contract could. I heard that the contract could come tomorrow, people.
But man, does he still play as good?
Although we heard that about Brandon Ayuk about 50 times.
God, I would almost. Maybe I'm crazy. I would think about trading out Chase just for week 1 for again, start DJ Moore, Pittman, and Kupp.
Just week 1 and put and put Pittman in the flex.
Exactly, because I'm too scared about Jamar Chase, the contract. He only showed up to practice finally yesterday, and I don't even know if he actually practiced. I think he just showed up. Let me double check on that.
Yeah, it was just yesterday, or just today, or yesterday, whatever. And with my 3rd-round pick at pick 90, I selected. This guy has kind of been on a few radars. Tate Ratledge, the offensive guard from Georgia, who might move up mock drafts this year. And then
so he did actually participate in the practice, by the way.
Hold on.
Last ones to walk out to practice too.
And then 126, I took a Penn State safety, Kevin Winston Jr., who I think is going to move up some boards.
Mm-hmm.
And then at 137, I don't know what I was doing. It was late at night when I did this mock draft.
By the way, Andre Helmet, I don't think Jamar is going to play. From what I'm reading here on the news, Joe Burrow, quote unquote, we'll see if it ends up happening, but whatever happens, we'll be prepared for it. That doesn't sound like someone who's had good talks with their wide receiver about playing. Jamar might hold out for the start of the season.
And even if he does play, like Levi said, I don't think he's gonna do that good.
Who are they matched up against week 1? They are matched up against New England. I mean, it's such a favorable matchup though, over New England.
It is, but it also,
wait, actually Christian Gonzalez.
Yeah.
He's really good. That was a great draft pick last year.
Oh no, he's still out in free agency, by the way, Levi.
Who?
I believe
Gonzalez.
Christian Gonzalez.
I thought about it, man. I really did. I was actually looking at him.
But I already have too many corners. So.
I wanted someone for that defensive back position. I wanted someone who's also going to get tackles because Matt Judon's not going to get tackles.
I just based off the news we just heard out of Eagles land, I wanted to pick up Quinyon Mitchell. And I mean, I don't care if any of y'all pick him up, but I have too many Eagles defensive players, and I already have the Eagles defense as my defense. So why have all those players that are on the actual Eagles defense and have the Eagles defense too?
Team NFL with Kyle, my boy, Kyle Kitts from Denver. You got no kicker?
Oh. He's going to have to hit up that.
Bro. For real, I'm confused on that one a little bit, to be 100%
he might have
honest.
He might have offered a trade to the guy. The guy might just not be online.
I wonder. I mean, he made the trade for Mark Andrews, and he made it with 80 Pax fans. So I don't think it's like like a friend of a friend making a move or something like that. Like,
No, I'm saying I think the guy might have been online then. I don't think he's been online ever since.
I know. I sent him that direct message, so we'll see.
Yeah, but you might also have to just do something else about it.
Yeah, I'm so surprised to see Joe Stevens starting Caleb Williams. To be 100% honest, I did not see that coming. Like,
Who's his other quarterback?
let's see. I was hoping someone was going to take Kirk Cousins as their QB1 so I could exploit Michael Penix potentially. But when I double checked the team rosters, Kirk is the QB2 for someone, so it's just like not worth it.
I believe it's Joe. Or the captain. It's one of the two.
No, Joe's actually got Dak Prescott and Matthew Stafford. Wow, he got Keon though. He's got Keon, your boy.
All
Joe's
right,
still got 2 bench slots too that he hasn't used.
All right, I'm gonna have to hit him up after this. Let him know in the chat that
I know, right?
I'll be calling him up.
For a lot of these people, there's still time to set their lineups and add players and stuff like that.
Yeah, but if you want to add any of the like Eagles or Ravens or Chiefs or Packers players, then you're gonna have to do it now.
Let's see who's putting up the most points predicted week 1. Cahill? Nope. Catton's so far the leader. The GOAT Rick almost got it. Like, man, 144. There's literally a 0.09 point difference between. Shitney is predicted to lead this week in points, or Sidney Miller. Let's look at this lineup.
All right. Well, I don't like that person, so we can move on.
That's a game of the week right there. Technically, 149 versus 143. I think that's predicted to be the highest scoring matchup of the week. Let's take a look here.
And I really want Jake Bates not to score any points for her.
Ooh. I know that would help you. That would help you a lot. That would
help me. And watch, Kaimi Fairbairn's now gonna go off for freaking like 50 points. Jesus.
Ooh. I'm not gonna lie. They got both pretty good teams, and like their starting lineups might be some of the strongest starting lineups in the league. Their depth, I'm not as a fan of as some of our depths, but that's gonna be a great game. Like,
my depth is horrible.
I don't know. I think you've got when I say depth, I think guys that could break out. McLaughlin, Tracy, Brennan Rice, Sennett. I think are all guys that could break out. Like, you gotta probably move a defensive player. Like, you're trying to move Hendrickson.
I'm trying to move Hendrickson or should I try and move Carter? I'm only concerned about that because I already have the Eagles defense. So all those Carter points are already going to go to me.
Man, there are some potential guys still in the free agency wire. I didn't even think about taking the throw on. I've heard a lot of things about Algier from Atlanta, and if anything happens to Bijan, he becomes an RB1 option. Let me see here. I'm actually a fan of Bucky Irving. I think, again, if anything happens to Rashad White, Bucky Irving becomes an RB1 option. Just how Rashad White was just based purely off his workload. He was, Braylon Allen still on the free agency wire in our league as well. Another guy potentially that, again, anything happens. And like right there's 3 guys on waiver wire potentially barring injuries. Tank Bigsby. Ooh, again, that's my guy if anything happens to Etienne. Shipley might turn into actually a real contributor for your Eagles by the end of the season, potentially. I think there's some good. I think Brandon Cooks I can't believe I think he's got great value. Darnell Mooney could be a sneak flex guy potentially. Jalen McMillan could turn into the wide receiver 2 in Tampa. Bateman, we're hoping in Baltimore is going to have his breakout year. Mike Williams for the Jets, he's going to be a red zone Man, I'm thinking about making some switches right now. Looking at some of these guys.
Boo hoo.
But the thing is, they're all just like our bench. A lot of them are might not work. I'm hoping to package like Hurst and Aaron Jones together for a running back, and then pick up someone off the free agent wire at running back instead of another tight end. But I don't know who to target yet. I gotta find someone who's loaded at running back.
I mean,
Does
tell
Sydney
me
have
about it.
anyone?
I mean, if you can cook up a trade with Sydney and she actually takes a chance to look at it, I'll be shocked.
Sadly, she does not have running back depth. Gus Edwards is fighting with that job for JK with JK, like, and her. So she has, I don't think, only has 3 running backs: McCaffrey, Kamara, and Edwards. I think that's the only 3 running backs on her entire roster.
Wait, should I try and cook
That's
up
where
a
I would try to
trade?
shoot a running back to her, 100%. Like,
But who though?
all right, hold on, let me look here. I'm not gonna lie, I would potentially even think about dropping Trey Hendrickson, weirdly, and
Yeah.
picking up a running back. Because here's the thing, you could drop him, add one of these running backs like we were just talking about, and if anything happens and they become RB1, like I like Ray Davis in Buffalo too, but of course Dalvin Cook and who
Like
else?
I
They got 2
want
guys.
a guy that she'll actually take a look at least.
The thing is this, she's not going to really look at any of these running backs seriously that are on the free agency wire until one of them shows, because all of these guys are guys that, like, again, I feel like are going to be potentially the guys, like, but you know, we don't know till the season starts.
All right,
Bucky
let's
Irving
see.
is from Oregon. He's underrated, like I said. And if anything happens to Rashad White, he's not only a goal line guy, but actually a pretty good pass catcher out of the
I
backfield.
mean,
He's predicted to
looking at
take some third down reps already.
like looking at some of the guys that she might Strong might take a look at,
She
or
might.
like
Azo, I'm going to do a pregame show. I'm
Algier.
actually going to cut my fantasy show, take a very small break, go walk my dog, and then I'm going to get started before the 8 o'clock to do a little bit of a pregame show and talk the Ravens more. Sorry,
like
Sponge.
Tyler Algier, maybe if he
Mhm.
can. Although Bijan,
My bets would be Algier. Not so much Ray Davis. I love Ray Davis out of
yeah.
Kentucky, though. Bucky Irving out of Tampa. I think he's
Yeah,
number
I
2 on
did.
their depth chart.
I looked at Bucky during the draft.
Braylon
during
Allen and Tank Bigsby. All
Yeah,
guys like in their second or first year that are number 2 on the depth chart.
I might take a chance on Bucky and drop Trey, but then, all right.
Because we saw Rashad White last year was an average running back, in my opinion, but he just got so many attempts that he became a legitimate RB2 in fantasy.
Yeah.
Like Ramondre Stevenson.
Mm-hmm.
I would think about that. Bijan, I don't think Bijan's going to get hurt. Rashad, I think Rashad might get a little banged up here and there.
Even if I see like during the year, if say Rashad does get banged up, but when they put Bucky in, he doesn't do much. I say, okay, Trey Hendrickson's still there. I'll pick him back up, or see if another guy.
I doubt anyone's going to steal Trey.
I doubt, especially because nobody even wants him in a trade. Because if I put him on the trade block right now, I'm not getting anything.
I know. Is there actually like an actual trade block thing on this?
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay,
and
that's
it notifies
trade block. That's
and it
dope.
notifies the whole chat that you guys have a player up.
Oh, but I still have to choose somebody to add as a potential.
Yeah.
Or do I add everybody? Okay, no.
I mean, I added Tony Pollard in my other league.
Please select at least one. Wish I could select myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to go see if I can find someone that's got an RB. Hold on real quick, and then Then we're probably going to wrap this up because, like I said,
Yeah,
I got to
that's
walk
good.
my dog and kind of get a little more ready for the
No,
pregame
that's all
show.
good. You got a show to do. I don't.
Oh, I do like the potential Tajay Spears. Let's see, Kyle. Has Kyle got anybody? Kyle is not my guy. Tig and Cahill? Etienne Cook. So I got to look at who they're banking on their bench a little bit here. Not in love with a lot of these guys. It's just sad half the guys I would think about going for are on the free agent wire. But I just wanted to upgrade Aaron Jones in a package trade somehow. I doubt Captain would take my package trade, sadly. I could try. I mean, he does have Raheem Mostert and Chuba Hubbard, and he's the one probably most stacked at running back in our league.
Well, if you look at the depth.
49ers media actually has a lot too with Blake Corum, Gibson.
Oh no,
Carne.
I don't. I liked him in the draft. I liked what's his name? Sorry, Corum. And then the report came out that he's gonna be the punt returner.
Yeah, you're definitely
like,
with Tyrone and McLaughlin, like challenging on that hard.
I'm sorry, the fact that this is gonna be a bad move for Sean McVay and the special team coach, and the offensive coordinator, because I'm gonna bring the offensive coordinator into this too, because you look, okay, if both of them, okay, so if Kyron gets hurt on a kick return, okay, or since he's playing so much kick return and running back, if he gets hurt, you have Corum behind him, and he's gonna do return and running back. You gotta find a receiver that can do that. Or a cornerback. I'm sorry, because the running backs are gonna get hurt easily.
Mm-hmm. God.
And you know a guy on that team I'm looking at to break out, possibly?
Who?
Rookie receiver Jordan Whittington.
Mm-hmm. The Texas guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's one of the deep ball specialist guys that I was mentioning in this draft. Washington, Whittington, Thomas, Franklin. I think there's one other guy I'm still forgetting. I'm gonna do a trade block here. We're gonna list Captain. As the guy. We tried. I just don't understand. No players on the trade block yet. Do I mean? Okay,
I still
that's weird.
don't understand what Sydney's thinking. I still don't understand what Sydney's thinking. So if you want to help me with that, Levi,
I wish I knew. I'm trying to still figure out how to actually. And if anyone chat knows how to do this in Sleeper, so like I went to the trades, it proposed it as an actual trade, and then you can see my trade block still says nothing. So I'm like, how do I add players directly to the trade block? Because I click trade block.
All right, you want to know how?
How?
You want to know? Hold on, you want to know how? All right, you go to, you know how the player avatar?
Yeah. So like on the actual player?
The player says summary game log. Yeah. It's that little star, I believe.
I mean, there's what?
No, never mind. It's that.
I'm definitely on my
It's the thing next to the star. It's the thing next to the star. If you can see that.
The thing next to the star.
When you click on the player avatar, it might be dead because I'm on the phone and you're on a computer.
Might be.
It's right next to You know where to drop players?
Okay, let me go to add drop then. Can I do by my team here? Let's see, Hurst. I know I got to figure out how to do this on a on the sleeper app, because I would love to be able to actually figure out how to do it the right way. Select a trade review. So when I do that, trade block. Oh, okay. I think I see how to do it. Okay, yep. I found how to do it. Maybe not. Okay, there we go. Now they're on the trade block correctly. So I had to go to the trade tab, find my team, and then add them via that way. Looks like we lost Spongy a little bit there. But all right, guys. With that, we're gonna go ahead and probably wrap up fantasy football. Again, if you ever do have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. This was our first week. Not a lot to go on because there's been no actual NFL action yet. But of course, make sure you come back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, we are live for every Baltimore Ravens game. This week, real quick rundown. We're going to have, of course, game tonight at 8 o'clock. Tomorrow, we will be live for the Green Bay Packer Philadelphia game, doing a hangout for that as well. Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, we're going to have our Jackbox Gaming, which is normally on Friday nights. Ending, of course, with Sunday Night Football, Rams versus Lions. So we are your go-to spot for the go-to games of week 1. Make sure you come hang out with us. We've got a lot of our pregame notes already written up here for the show. We've got a lot of matchups to analyze before this Chiefs game. It's going to be an exciting one in Kansas City, and I hope y'all come back and check us out for that. We got to go walk the dog and have a break. Special shout out to Sponge for coming and hanging out with us and talking some fantasy football. I know he's having some Wi-Fi issues. It says he's there, but we don't hear him. But and again, thanks for all the guys dropping in under the helmet. Cap for Life, Tresnor, Azo, 49ers Media, Stevo, Daniel, Barry. Again, special shout out to all y'all for coming in and hanging out with us. Come back next week, Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern time, every single week to make sure you get your fantasy football lineups set. It's been fun. As always, it's your boy Darwin, and we'll see you here tonight.